This is Act and Analyze with Maggie and Tyler. We are two best friends.
I'm an actress.
And I'm a therapist.
In Act and Analyze, you will hear us discuss all things within media and our daily lives while relating it to our lovely guests.
We want to have fun, but also learn along the way.
Everywhere around us is media. We just want to know, what type of media helps you, or infuriates you, or makes you feel good?
We want to grow with you and leave you all feeling better than how we found you.
Welcome to Act and Analyze. Hey, hello.
Hi, Maggie.
Hello, Tyler. Welcome to Act and Analyze.
Welcome to Act and Analyze.
So happy to be here.
Yeah.
A little hungover.
Yeah, a little hungover today. A little bit of a slow day, but also filled with so much. It wasn't slow.
It's actually so busy. So busy. Not slow at all. My
So
brain
true.
was slow.
Yeah, same.
Today.
Same. I'm so excited for our guest today. Our guest is a near and dear friend to me, Brett. She is a therapist. She's a clinician. We met in grad school, which we'll get into. She's just the best. Just so herself and unapologetic, and just makes anyone feel comfortable.
Yeah.
The least judgmental person ever.
Ever.
So intelligent, so passionate, just an all-around amazing human being. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited to have her on today. She's filled with so much information and experience, and I'm excited to get into it with her.
I'm excited too. She's beautiful. She's gorgeous. Like, such grace. Like, such, and so real. And so, yeah. Let's get into it.
Brett, welcome to Act and Analyze.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We're so happy to have you here.
Yeah, we're so happy to have you here.
So happy to be here. I'm trying not to fangirl right now. I'm
Stop.
huge fans. We're on season 2.
Yes.
Can't wait to see what rolls out.
Yes.
Excited.
Yes.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
And I'm honored, and I feel honored at the same time.
We're honored to have you here.
I'm so honored to have you.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So let me know how you and Tyler know each other.
Okay.
How you guys met.
Yes, we met. We were in the clinical mental health counseling program at GCU.
Yeah.
And I had the pleasure of meeting her there. That was fantastic.
Yeah, were you at the orientation? The orientation before it started? I feel like you were.
Yes.
Yes.
There was 3 of us that were
Yes.
there.
You, Michaela, myself, and Michael. Michael was also at the orientation.
Yes,
Yep.
he was.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, and that's how it all started.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yes.
And then I met you because I was a guest in your class.
Yes.
Yes.
But you pretty much became a student.
Yes.
Yeah. I was at every event.
Yes.
After that.
You were at every event after that, and you just became one of us.
You came the most chaotic day ever.
Yeah, there was a crazy meeting that day.
It was the meet.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you came during that meeting. That was when...
The K-Crep meeting.
The K-Crep meeting for our school was going to be affiliated. K-Crep, what was it? What did I say affiliated? K-Crep, continue to have K-Crep.
Yes.
Accreditation.
Yes,
I don't know what I'm
accreditation.
saying.
Yes, exactly.
So, I think though through all that, it definitely brought us closer.
Yeah.
Our cohort, really close. I would say, I can't say based off other cohorts because I've never been in another cohort program like that.
Yeah.
But just to take a wild guess, we had to turn to one another in order to figure out problems because we weren't getting it from other sources. And we were venting to each other and listening to each other and just processing stuff with each other because we didn't want to take that out. We were trying to unload a little bit on each other so we didn't bring that to in other areas of our life. And I think that brought us definitely closer together.
Definitely. Discuss ways to advocate together, conversations to have with people who to reach out to about certain things. We all collaborated a lot. And yeah. it definitely brought us closer.
No, there was definitely like a sense of community when I walked into your room, like your classroom and stuff, just with each other and all of like the way you guys were joking with each other. Like there was just such a sense of comfort walking into your room. Where I know for a fact that's not in every classroom at all when you're in college, especially like like more of a commuter school master's program. Like
it's different vibe.
Like it's different vibes. Like my parents both teach college, and they say that to me all like, you know, like sometimes you just get really good classes that vibe to you, and sometimes it's just like they're all coming from different places and like don't help one another out and stuff, and that just makes the experience 10 times worse. Like you're not leaning into the experience of
everyone's
like what
like
you're
trying
there
to do
for.
their own thing, and they're not like leaning into each other. I hear you.
Yeah, it was. I miss it. I miss that part of it. I miss seeing you and Michaela and Kristen.
Say that one more time. You miss seeing me?
I miss seeing you. I'll say it a million times. Miss seeing you and everyone all the time. It was just like I never dreaded like being there.
No.
Because all of you were there.
No.
So
yeah.
Yeah, but do you want to tell the podcast like who you are, what you're about?
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
What makes Brett?
Yes. Who am I? I am. Wow. I am a cat mom.
Yes, I love the socks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That is. So I gave birth to her. That's Missy. In 2017. It was a long and the labor was long and it was
Furry,
and it was a struggle, but like it happened and I gave birth to this beautiful baby. She's a Munchkin tabby cat. Her name's Missy. So that's one of my children, and I have another child. Her name is Ethel Rita.
Oh my god!
Yes, I'm a cat mom. Like I just mentioned, this is my other cat. She is I gave birth to her it was this summer.
Oh my god.
Yes, she's already 12 years old. I gave birth to her.
She was a big baby.
And so along with being a cat mom, I am a cat mom with a cat with disabilities. So there's like many layers to that. So she does have lupus. Yes. So
how does that show up in cats?
Yeah.
To be honest with you, this cat IBS. She has some irritable bowel syndrome there.
That's right.
Patches of hair missing. Her organs are inflamed. Her heart's a little bit bigger. She does have respiratory issues because basically her immune system is like attacking itself right now. So it shows up in different ways. The IBS being my favorite.
Her core.
Yeah, kitty litter is like one thing, but the cat with IBS and then kitty litter is like a next level. So Ethel Rita and Missy, those are my two children. I am a childless cat lady.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'm proud of it.
Yes.
Icon.
Yes. What else am I? I am a daughter. I have a mom who lives over in Lakewood. So a daughter. I am a girlfriend. I have a girlfriend of 3 years. My partner lives with me. We did long distance for a while, but we're together at this moment.
Yes.
I would say I'm proudly a Trader Joe's cult member.
Yes.
Oh, yes, you are.
I drank the Kool-Aid.
I was so happy you mentioned that because I was hoping we
can go.
We can go
We
there.
can talk about cults or Trader Joe's in general. We can go either way.
Yes. Or the cult of Trader
Or the
Joe.
cult of
Yes.
and we can talk about I don't know how I never joined or got sucked into a cult because I feel like that should have happened in my life, but it never did. I don't know how it didn't, but that's another part.
You made it
I
so
made
far.
it. I've been very close to joining cults, I feel like. So Trader Joe's cult member, cat mom, girlfriend, daughter. I'm an aunt. I have a niece and nephew.
Oh,
yes, I'm a sister. I have a older sister who lives in Jersey City. And yes, I'm a clinician. I put that, but it's not like it is, but not the big, huge part. Newly baby therapist. Little baby therapist.
Yes, we are.
And I don't know, it goes on and on and on. I'm trying to think. Foodie, convention junkie, podcast junkie, reader junkie. It goes on.
I love it.
A lot of different components there.
Yeah.
Oh, and the member of the LGBTQIA+, if you didn't pick up on the girlfriend part.
Yes.
Yeah. I love when on your form, when you wrote LGBTQIA+, you put lesbian.
Lesbian, yes. Proudly identified lesbian. Let's just put that word in front of the LGBTQ.
Yes, exactly.
Check it out. Historical reasons. Just look on your own time.
Yeah.
But that too. So yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Yes, thank you for sharing that with us.
Of course.
As a clinician, I know you don't have that up on your list of what makes you you, but what area of focus, what population do you like to serve?
Okay. So, right now I'm working with like adults and adolescents, doing like family as well, not licensed marriage family therapist at all. Want to just make that clear for the record. Populations, like subsets within there, definitely in the addiction world, big time. That's my wheelhouse. I love it. That's where I feel nice and cozy and comfortable. When we talk about like addiction, I'm like, yes, let's talk about it. What else am I working with? Like women issues, depression, anxiety, just relationship issues. Definitely working with like the LGBT population as well. I have there's definitely, I'm working with some trans men and trans women at this time.
Nice.
Kind of dabbling in a whole bunch of different areas. I definitely find myself lately working with a great deal of adolescence, which at one point when we were doing GCU, I was like, I don't want to work with adolescents.
Yeah, you're like, they scare me. I'm not, I get it though.
Yeah, they still scare me sometimes, but not so much. It's been an honor, like working with them, and if anything, I think I need to work with them more.
Yeah.
There's so much that needs, especially at like what, So it's like not just working with like adolescents, because I'm working with their parents as well.
Yes.
Because I'm always like bringing in the parents like the first 10 minutes or the last 10 minutes of session, or sometimes the parents are in there with us. And it's just such a different world for adolescents, and like what they're exposed to, information overload at this point. And I deal with adolescents is, there's like the anxiety component of it for sure, depression, but just like the boredom. Like this is like, I think every adolescent was, but like boredom more so to like the next level, because they're constantly like being stimulated, like nonstop. So now like when they don't have any stimulation, it's like boredom, and that's like such an uncomfortable feeling for them. They're just like exposed to like just dopamine overload in their life, in every area of their life. So then when they're like asked to sit in a classroom or be going to school for 8 hours, it's extremely difficult for them. And then I see like how hard it is for adolescents to live right now in this world with everything they're exposed to, everything that's going on, but how hard it is for parents. It's like parenting now is like so different. I am not a parent, but like it's so different than how it was back then. Like you have to be an active parent in your kid's life at this point. You have to be like involved in their life. It's not like when I was a kid, late 80s, early 90s, like you can go outside and play, and then when the street lights come on, like come back home. Right. And then your parent can like, you would do your homework on your own, and mom would like, do whatever she had to do, dad would do that. It's different. It's a different world now.
Different world. And especially where now it's also not, the world is not set up for parents to be home, because they have to be like there has to be two incomes to just like have a kid. Like, Like, there has to be, or like there's no space for a parent to be that like
to be
that present.
Yeah, you made a really good point. Like being dual income is pretty much a must now. In order to survive. It's very few people who are like stay-at-home moms or stay-at-home dads. You know, this the gender norm here. Like, you know, that's how it is. But both of them have to be like dual income, so they can't be as present in their kids' lives.
Yeah, and that's not what the human experience was set up to do. Like, you're set up to live in community and like rely on one another, and like there wasn't mom and dad. It was just like everyone put their hands in and to raise this person to be independent, and like we broke away from that now, and it's like, so I heard something on a podcast recently and I found it so interesting. They were like, everyone is so anxious and have such a difficult time with just living because our brains haven't developed to current times. It's like back when humans first evolved, it was your brains didn't work as much, but your bodies were working all of the time. Now we're not moving as much, but our brains are moving exponentially fast.
Yes.
So it's like we haven't evolved to be able to handle that yet. Like that's years and years of evolving that we have to do to be able to just like acclimate to the world that we're experiencing now. So it's like that's why everyone is so distressed because of that.
Yes. And I think like going back to like the information like overload, like there's so much information that as adults we're getting, but even as adolescents, both of us, we can't conceptualize all of it at once. We take in all this information, but we can't like conceptualize or unfold it, and it's like happening too fast for us. So I'm having a lot of adolescents like say things to me that they've heard on like YouTube or podcasts or something, but they don't understand like the context of it or like the real meaning behind it or the idea or the ideology behind it. So it's a lot. And I'm definitely seeing with like parents too, just the toll it's taking on parents is like the mental health impact it has on them. And it's like some of the parents I'm working with, they're just like, it's a sense of hopelessness for them because their kid just like can't pull away from video games. The kid's in their room for like 10 hours and going and defecating in the room because he doesn't want to get away from video games. And like parents like are just at this hopeless stage. This is one example, but parents are just at this hopeless stage where they're like they don't know how or what to do to help their kid in some ways. And we need more of that like community, like parents collaborating, coming together, like people without kids. Like, and this is something like Sarah, I'm going on a tangent here for a minute.
That's fine.
No, I love it.
Sarah and I have like kind of talked about this. Like we want to, like we don't have kids at this time in our life, but we want to be more present for the parent, like our friends who are parents, and be more present like for their kids and like help out those parents. Like if you don't have kids and you know someone who's a parent, like help them out. Like mom's running around the kitchen, like grab the baby, offer like to babysit, like offer the drive. You can because you have a little bit more flexible time, not your job, but like that sense of community, like just helping parents out because they need that help more so than ever, especially in where we're at in the world in this time frame. And it's incredibly expensive to have childcare. It's just incredibly hard for parents, especially single parents. So yes, lend a helping hand if you have the time and capability to.
Check in on your friends. Check in your friends who have kids. Like give them a call. Like, hey, what's going on? How are you doing? Do you need help with this, that? Like just being more mindful of that. Because it's the dual income, both parents having to work, not having that much time, and they just need extra help right now, more so than ever. Right now, they need more help.
I saw on the forum, I'm not sure if you want to talk about it, that you and Sarah are talking about maybe becoming foster parents.
Yes. So we've talked about this. Sarah and I have these well, you don't know, so let me tell you. We have this deck of cards, and I forgot what it's called. I got them on Facebook. That dates like how old I am, and I use Facebook a lot. And it's these deck of cards, and they like ask questions.
Is it the red cards?
Yeah, it's the black one. The black one.
Oh, okay. I know. Like, are we really strangers? It's different than that.
Yeah, it's like a deck of cards.
Yeah.
And, like, you just get to know your partner more, and they're great. We've been doing them on vacation, even like during the weekend, and it's like they're just like really thoughtful questions that you should know, like the ins and outs of your partner, like everything. Is touched upon with these deck of cards.
That's amazing.
So we talked about this before, but I came up with this deck of cards, and like, yes, Sarah and I would love to be foster parents. We don't want to do it right now in this time of our life. We rather, to be a foster parent, you don't have to be a homeowner. You can be a renter, and that is okay, and that's fantastic. I think like that shouldn't be another barrier in order to be a foster parent. So I love it, but we prefer like being a homeowner before fostering, like being foster parents. So I think it would be great. Sarah's like the baby whisperer. She is like a kid whisperer. She's so good with kids. She was a former teacher for many, many years. It would be interesting. Like we talked about like us being parents and what that would be like, and Sarah would be like definitely more like the structured, scheduled one. And I would be like more like the loosey goofy, like humorous one. But yeah, it's something that we like to do. It's the tough thing. So I talked to Sarah about this. Is with my cat. Missy, we have Missy. Yeah. And I know this is like a cat versus a child, so I want to know that I'm fully aware of this. But like we end up giving Missy like my cat to my mom because like my mom's a little bit older and we want her to have a companion. So I promise this is coming around to the foster story. It's coming back around. So we ended up giving like Missy to my mom, and I was okay with it. Like I was upset, but I'm like, you know what? I was like, my mom's gonna take great care of this cat. It will be good for her. But like, it was very hard for Sarah. Like, it was extremely hard for her.
Yes.
And that's like how loving and caring and deep her love is. Like she feels things on a very deep level, and like I think like in that moment I was like, okay, we're gonna like. We talked about it, like this is going to be a little bit harder for foster parents, and like, if you know if they end up going to another house or getting a family, like that's the difficult thing is like getting really attached to these kids, getting really to know them and helping to raise them, but then like knowing that it's a continuum and their life is going to go on to the next phase, and I think I would be okay with that. I think Sarah would be too, but I think it would be a little bit more difficult for her. Hard to capture that with giving a cat to my mom, but
it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It's like love and attachment, whether it's with an animal or with a human.
But definitely, you know, I'm also working with like some adolescents and adults with like different addiction issues. So processing addictions, substance use, alcohol use. Definitely working a lot of gambling. Sex, porn. Those are some of the things that I'm seeing right now. A lot of video game addiction as well. So,
Do you mind sharing like what brought you into working with that population?
No, I don't mind at all. So I would say probably my main reason to, and this is a whole other story, but one of my main reasons to become a therapist was to get my feet wet and like let me start off by saying this. I've always worked in the addiction world because I'm in recovery myself. I've been in recovery since 2012. Perfect record now. I've had, you know, some setbacks and stuff like that. 2012, I've been off all opiates myself. Since 2017, I haven't had a drink of liquor. So I've been in recovery, and I've been in that world for a really long time in all aspects of it. And that's, you know, working with like SMART recovery, recovery Dharma, NA, AA, which people are really familiar with. And with that, you know, I worked in hospitals, institutions. I worked for Salvation Army, either like for pay or volunteer. I brought meetings into correctional facilities, state and federal, not federal, state prisons. So I did a lot of work in the addiction world. always like it was a side thing for me. One, for my own personal recovery, because that was a big part. Like in order for me to stay clean, one of the things and still like a big piece of my recovery is like service to others. Yeah. That's how I stay on the right path. There's many other components to that. That's not, there's many things for me to like stay in recovery. It's not just service. It's a lot of work. Yeah. It's a lot of work. Yeah. There's some people who are in recovery and they're like, I'm free from addiction. Like all is well. Like I did my step works or I, repent for my sins or like I don't have any obsession to use. Like that's not my experience at all. It's a daily work for me. Yeah. And those thoughts aren't as frequent to use anymore, but I'm not gonna lie, I have thoughts of using. They cross my mind. Yeah. I am not free at all from that. Like when I see people drinking, I'm like, oh, that looks nice. The thought crosses my mind. So it is work and I still do it now, but it's something that for 12 years of volunteering and doing that, I wanted to take it to the next level. And this is me taking it to the next level, is being a clinician. Yeah. And my main focus was to work, once I got licensed and certified through the state, was to work with this population. And so, I did, for the most part, I worked in like community mental health for a while, and I worked specifically with this population. That was like for a year, and I was working with adults who were court mandated, but had co-occurring. So they had substance use disorders or any kind of addiction, and along with like other mental health issues. Because a lot of times with any addictions, it's never just an addiction. Yeah. The addiction is just like a symptom of usually a symptom of a mental health issue. Yeah. So that's how that happened. I think reflecting on it now, I laugh. I can like look back now and laugh. I'm like, did I need to become a clinician to help people with addiction, to fight the stigma behind addiction, to help people know that there's hope and there is like life after this, like you can have a fulfilling life. And when I work with clients, it's not like you need to get clean or sober. That's not how I work at all. Everyone's path is different. For me, I personally, because you asked like my experience with it, I stay clean and sober from substances. I don't gamble, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I have a very addictive personality, all areas of my life. I have to watch out how much I exercise, I have to watch out how much I have sex, I have to it goes across the board for me. But I know for people who sometimes it's reevaluating their relationship with alcohol or with weed. It doesn't mean cutting it out of their life. Right. It means it's like taking a time out, let's pull back, let's look at your relationship with these substances or these video games or whatever they may be. Let's reevaluate your relationship with them and like let's create a healthy routine, and then let's come back maybe like a few months later and like revisit some of this. So I think to recovery there's many different ways to that. It doesn't have to be just like no use of drug. I think that's a very outdated, for some people it works and it needs to be done, but I think that could be very outdated in some ways too. Like clinicians are only on that one path track. So
Exactly. It's like, now it's like, let's set realistic goals. Like, unrealistic goals usually are not able to, like, be substantial and long-lasting, so. Yeah. Is there, like, a piece of media, like a movie or show or anything that you feel like misrepresents addiction?
Misrepresents addiction.
Or presents it actually really well. One of the two.
Ooh. I can say I can't pinpoint one, but the misrepresenting what that feeds into the stigma of addiction. So many. It's like countless. Of seeing it, and I think it's in the music, it's in media, it's in video media. You see it. It's it glorifies drug use, and God, I sound like a really old fart saying this, but like, it just doesn't show like the horrors of it. Yes, the glorifying and feeding into the addiction, like the stigma of addiction, yes, there's definitely shows out there. I know there's some great ones, I'm not gonna lie. I watch them, like Breaking Bad, right? I think anything that you turn on now, like what sells is like sex, drugs, violence, and it's gonna feed into it.
Shameless comes to mind for me.
Yes, thank you. I'm drawing a blank right now. Yeah, Shameless is one great show. I think it kind of touches upon it, but it doesn't show the reality of it. The reality of like how it really destroys families. And the impact it takes on families. It like touches like on the surface level and in a humorous way, but not the reality of it. There's any other ones? Let's see. Shameless. Then there was that series Weeds.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes. And again, it's people like, oh, like, you know, marijuana, it's a big deal, but yeah, it still glorifies like how the smoking of it and like the selling of it, and like they don't see the repercussions and the consequences of it. Especially now, I think you see in like music videos, like whatever it may be, like I'm not opposed to marijuana use, but like a healthy relationship with it. And you're not seeing like healthy relationship with marijuana use at all. I'm getting like clients coming in now with drug-induced psychosis from marijuana use because the marijuana is like so potent out there now.
Yes.
So I'm having to like, you know, clients come in and drug-induced psychosis because of marijuana use. This is like brand new. This is not, if you would have read the research, like what, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you wouldn't have ever like pulled any research on like drug-induced psychosis with marijuana. And just because the potency of it now, we're getting like such high cases. It's like in my private practice from this, where we have to obviously refer them to higher level of care. So I wish I had like a media reference of something that like portrayed it healthy, but I can't think of it off the top of my head.
It like your day seems like you're giving just so much to people and giving so much energy to people, and like as much as that fuels you, like I know there's like has to be like some exhaustion with it and stuff. Like, is there anything in media that you go to for comfort, or you come home to put on for self-care, podcasts? Like, what type of things are you listening to, watching?
Okay, yes.
To help you kind of decompress, or are you...
Yeah, like, to try not to, like, bring work home with me. That's a huge thing. Like, a way for, like, self-care, decompress. Yeah, that has been a process, for sure. I find, like, since I'm, like, a baby therapist, that it is still a challenge for me not to get like so meshed into clients' problems, and like having those boundaries with them, and then having no expectations on them either. And that's like really tricky to navigate, because often if I don't like hang up that counselor hat in my office before I leave, I bring that home, and then I'm like, bring that home to my girlfriend, and that impacts our relationship. And then she's like, take off your therapist hat, I don't need it right now. So that was a whole other issue. But how do I like refill like my cup and refuel and charge my battery, whatever other analogy, metaphor you want to say? I would say like a big thing for me is like on my drive home, I definitely like listening to music. I listen to all types of music. Like right now I'm like in this like neoclassical like music phase of my life, so a lot of piano music going on. So that's like listening to music on my way home. Sometimes like not listening to music too. Like this is part of my self-care. I've been trying to like not listen as much in order to like let the thoughts unfold of like what happened during the day.
Yes.
So
that drive home
in
silence is everything after a long day.
Like letting the day unfold and making sense, like having it make sense to me, like what happened.
Yeah.
Because I think it's just like from one client to the next, and I don't give myself a chance to like feel or make sense of it. So that, and then the drive home is so important. I realize, like, critical. I should take a longer route home.
Yes.
And letting myself like feel a lot of that on the drive home. I have this like little imaginary like box in my car, and I do like grab throughout the, like when I'm driving home, I do grab some of those like feelings and let myself feel stuff that comes up for me in sessions. Either it's with the client or if it's like with my stuff. And let myself like process that emotion. Super important, because sometimes I might be barging in home and I'm frustrated, and it has nothing to do with Sarah and everything, like what was happening with the day and with the client, and then I'm projecting that onto my girlfriend. So the drive home is huge.
Yeah.
The unfolding, the listening to music, other self-care things I do. Working out is like a big thing for me. So for me, it's like, even if it's like 10 minutes on the treadmill or like 15 minutes on the elliptical, working out is huge. Journaling is a big thing. Reading, I do a lot of reading. I read.
Are you still waking up really early in the morning?
No, not
good.
as much anymore. With school, I was doing that a lot. Yes. I still wake up, like, not as early, but I find that, like, I like to get outside at least once, or to the gym before I go into work. It just gives me a little bit more, like, cognitive, like, clarity there.
Yeah.
And it helps, like, regulate my emotions before I work with the clients. So, like, some kind of exercise, either that's doing, like, something in my living room, like yoga, or just stretching, or, like I mentioned before, going to the gym, qigong, whatever it may be. And then sometimes it's as simple as just like taking a hot shower, like spa day. Spa day in the shower, getting all scrubbed.
So nice.
Yes. So doing that. I've been I want to get into like more mindless activities. So I want to like start painting rocks.
Yes.
Or like beading, or something that's just like mindless, and it's like brings me into the here and now. I have to like bring more of that into my life.
Yeah,
definitely.
And giving my cat's singular cat right now, lots of love, petting her, brushing her. It's just like all good way for like self-care. And then spending time with my girlfriend. That's another. It's a huge one.
Yeah.
It's basically it's like eating right too. Like going home and just like having a nice healthy meal. And so self-care looks like a lot. It's a lot of different things for me.
That's amazing. I love that.
Yes, definitely. I feel like you're the self-care person.
I try. I think a lot of that comes back to just knowing how important it like early recovery for me. Even before we started like our graduate like program, they were preaching to us like self-care. But that was like a broken record before. Like when I started recovery, I had to practice self-care. Like I had to do daily emotional regulation skills. So like journaling, reading, snowboarding, taking a hot shower, eating right, like brushing my hair, cleaning underneath my nails. Like I had to do those things because like in early recovery, like I was, 10 years of my life, 12 years of my life I was using, and I couldn't cope with life on life terms. I couldn't deal with the feelings. I wanted to escape, and I escaped for 12 years of my life. And once I got in early recovery, like when all those feelings came back, everything was just like so much. More so than the average person. Like someone who like healthy anxiety for like a normal person would be like over amplified for me, and it would be untethering, and I would spiral out of control if I didn't practice those daily, weekly, monthly emotional regulation things. In early recovery, like relapse would have been like more so a part of my story. So it keeps I do those things constantly, and I learned that really early. If I don't put myself first, it's so funny because all of us know this. If I don't put myself first, if we don't put ourselves first, nothing else matters at that point.
Yeah. And it's reverting back to the necessities, the just showering, eating a meals, drinking water, sleeping, like those, just moving your body a little bit, like those basic necessities are everything.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that sometimes get the most brushed under the rug when we're heightened or we're going through a lot.
It's tough. And I don't know, I feel like you experienced this, and feel free to chime in too, Maggie. Like it's, I think for a lot of like clinicians, we're such like helpers, we're such caretakers, and I've definitely struggled with like the not being overly enmeshed in some of the clients' issues and like pulling back, and I'm constantly learning with that. I don't know if you what that was like for you, like, and even if not a clinician, like you're still somewhat in that role, just like even with close friends or family, like being able to like pull back.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. It's like, and just like showing up in spaces as well with these people in my life, like family, friends, and not feel like we know so much about people that it's so bothersome sometimes when and there's no such thing as like too little or too big of a problem, right? People are struggling, and that's a spectrum, and it's like very individual. But there's some times where I find myself getting frustrated by complaints or like frustrated by lack of emotional intelligence or lack of like knowing how to communicate or just like, you know, those things, and I have to try to like relieve myself of judgment for people, because that's what we went to school for. That's
so hard.
Like we're practicing that every single day. So it's like really hard sometimes, and like having to do check-ins with myself of like, where is this coming from? You know, everyone's experiences are different, like just checking in with myself, but boundaries,
It's a tough one, like constantly, like I think definitely as a clinician, like checking in with yourself and just that unconditional positive regard, meeting clients where they're at and making sure your like frustration or expectations is not on them. And we're at a place of power because we are, right, as therapists, like there is like, we try to neutralize that and not have that in the room, but there is like a place of somewhat like higher power, whether we like say it or not, there is, and if we are having these judgmental thoughts or expectations on the clients, unfortunately, if we're not in check, that's coming out on them of no fault of their own. So it's like interesting dynamic, and how you said that is, it's like constantly having to like check yourself. Supervision's so important for that reason. But like, it's really difficult to navigate that.
Yeah, it's hard. It's like you guys are such vessels to people's and hold people's emotions, like, and hear their stories and are such a big part of their journey, that it's like you need to be in check, like you need to be like fueling your vessel, like mostly, because if like your vessel is not full, like how can you be taking in everything that's going on? And that just like requires a type of self-awareness that unfortunately a lot of people's like journeys haven't started that yet, because like mental health is just coming to a point where like we're like normalizing it and doing that. So it's really interesting, and I like commend you guys for it, because just me being in therapy for like 2 years now, every Wednesday, like for the past 2 years, like my life has like just changed immensely, like your perspective of things, of people, like and of life, like just changes and grows, and you heal so much from shit that it just is amazing, and it's a really it's really admirable what you guys do, and really, really hard, but it's also just like that's why self-care is that much more important. Like,
and it's like that's why my friendship with you is so easy because it's like most people are in therapy because of people who don't go to therapy, right?
Yes.
People in their life who refuse to go to therapy. It's like
here.
It's like it's so like I have so much gratitude for that because you are so understanding of like not dumping or like not being like you're a therapist, like let me get your opinion on this or like whatever. Like you are so understanding and like you're doing your own work, so it's just so. It makes the friendship so easy because you just understand like that mental health to a different degree compared to maybe other people who are not in therapy and you know I won't point out.
That's a compliment, Maggie. You just got a huge.
No, that was really nice, Tyler. That was really nice. I really took that in. That really tickled me. My new favorite term.
Yes.
Are you guys looking for a third person?
Nice.
Yes. No.
Please, Brett.
No, please. This would be such a good trio.
Yes.
And you can be on again.
Okay.
Please.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. No, I like what you guys have going on here.
Do you have any media recommendations? Any books, movies, podcasts, TV shows, music?
Okay.
Anything?
So, great question. Podcast, Act and Analyze.
Thank you.
With Maggie and Tyler. One's an actress, another is a therapist, but they're also best friends. That was my first podcast. Make sure you rate them. It's great. Next one is What Wolf Do You Feed? That's a great one. It's a podcast about substance use disorder or anything in the addiction world, but even just like self-help and growth. What other ones? I'm a big Pivot podcaster with Carrie Fisher and Scott Galloway. They're big. Like I love the IT world and like they talk about politics and finance and stuff. It's like a real grown up podcast.
Yeah, my mom loves that podcast.
Yeah,
Is that an NPR podcast?
No, it's just their own thing. Are they part of like the New Yorker magazine? I don't know. There's
okay.
Yeah.
But NPR is another one. Obviously, that's a great. The Daily.
Love the Daily.
The Daily's great. I'm trying to think. Like I'm going down the list. Andrew Huberman is another huge one. I have a lot of like psychology podcasts I do, but sometimes I'm like, oh, I can't do anymore. Like,
no.
In my outside, I'm like, okay, this is too much psychology stuff. What's the other one? Philosophize this, so philosophy, like I missed out and I never had like graduate courses or high school courses if it's like philosophy course, so I'm doing a lot of podcasts now with that. That's which might bore some people, but for me I find it interesting. Smartless.
Yes.
They just came out on Netflix series.
Yes. It's so good.
Oh, so
I love
good.
it.
Anything comedy. And then I guess move on to books. I think that I do have some self-help books in there, of course. Like Martha Beck has like been a big kick lately. So like The Path to Integrity, I think that was very influential. I read this book quite often, like also in my life, just trying to get that like my truest North Star, as I would say, closer to like my most authentic self. Her book she has a few books, but Martha Beck is great. And then what other? Sophia's Diary. I read a lot of like fiction and nonfiction. Thinking other. What other ones are there? Some of like Virginia Woolf stuff. If I have the capacity, it takes a while to reread. And then God, I'm trying to think. There's Pema Chodron is there. Tara Brach is there. I'm just like naming authors right now. The guy who wrote H.P. Hewitt, is it The Alchemist? Is that the author?
Oh,
I
The
think?
Alchemist.
Yes. He has some sci-fi stuff that I do reading with. Right now I'm reading The Realm of the Hungry Ghost. That's Dr. Gaber May. He does a lot with like ADHD and addiction. So yeah, there's a few.
Well, yeah, anything else? Anything you want to say? Anything you want to leave here?
Yes, you know what? I want to say that I love how you guys are Can I talk a little bit? Because it was a lot about me and I'm kind of tired. Can I?
Of course you
Okay,
can. I know that's not a comfortable space for you to be in.
Well, I don't go that far. I can skip to that beat a little too well sometimes. But I want to say that I love how you guys have been throwing in like different segments with the podcast. Like you have like the Woman Wednesday.
Yes. Women crushes a week.
Yes. And then I know you guys do like favorite like video like movies, and you've been throwing in like different components during the podcast. And I really appreciate like you guys keep throwing those like different segments.
Thank you.
We will.
Yes.
Thank you, Brett, for being on. We're so grateful for you.
Thank
That's
you.
so funny. Abby did that too yesterday. No guesses ever. This is 2 days in a row of getting the group hug.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Of course.
Oh,
Yes.
that's perfect. But
Yes.
yeah, we loved having you. Welcome to Maggie's Media Munchins. Yeah. Today I have some fun munchies for you. My first media munchie is really fun. Tyler just finished the whole series of Sex and the City. I've watched it thrice. My first time was in 6th grade. Fun fact about me. And you need to pair it with Chinese food. Carrie Bradshaw is always carrying the Chinese takeout containers with
Sitting
her.
on her counter.
Sitting on her counter, always, with a pair of chopsticks. Like, she's vibing with her lo mein. Like, you see her. And I just think that would be a really great girls' night in, or guys' night, or whatever. I think it's like, I think that movie is amazing. So now we're watching the movie, so it's exciting. My second media munchie is to read more. I'm gonna recommend like a book to better yourself, like The Ethical Slut.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
I think like those types of books are just always great, like to keep yourself like in check, like we like talked about today, and like I think that's really great. And I think like pair it with something that's like healing for you. Like I would say maybe something even nostalgic, like an iced tea, a lemonade, to sip on a tea, maybe like a hot tea, like a hot hibiscus tea.
Yeah, tea and like a self-helper like check-in book.
Yeah.
It sounds so good.
Right?
It's perfect.
Yeah. So those are my media munchies. Have fun with that. And eat up.
Yum.
And drink up.
Yum, yum, yum.
Yum, yum, yum.
Welcome back to Tyler's Take Care of Yourself tip, where I give you a tip to take care of yourself. So, our lovely guest, Brett, is such a proud cat mom. You're such a proud cat owner. What would Lucy be to you?
Aunt.
Aunt.
I'm her aunt.
Yes. Yes.
According to Maeve. Because that's Lucy's kind of Maeve's mother to Lucy.
Okay. So you're a proud cat aunt, and a cohabitant of a cat. And I never had a furry friend animal. I had fish, I had hermit crabs, I had a hamster, and it was evil. Never could cuddle up with the hamster. I always wanted a dog. I could never have a cat. Unfortunately, I'm very allergic. But I see how much people really love their furry friends, their furry children, or cohabitants or family members. So my take care of yourself tip is to cuddle up with a furry friend, a dog, a cat, a rabbit. I don't like ferrets, but like, sure, if that's what you want to choose. If you don't have like an actual live one, you could hug like your stuffed animal or like a furry blanket or something, and just like feel that moment, and just like feel the softness of the animal's like fur, and just vibe with them.
Yeah.
Or with your stuffed
Yeah.
if you have one. Like, if you don't have a furry friend, you can pull out your
friend.
Your friend who's wearing a furry coat
and rub it.
And rub it, yeah.
It's amazing.
That is my take care of yourself tip for the week.
Yes.
So, cuddle up with your furry friends, or your favorite blanket, or your favorite stuffy, and take care of yourself.
Welcome to Woman Crush Wednesday, where we're crushing on a woman of the week.
Yes.
My woman of the week that I'm really crushing on, that Brett and I talked about off camera, is Viola Davis. I just think she is so incredible at her craft. I think she's so, like, she's brilliant, she's grace, like, she fills up this, like, the room in such a light, and like, yeah, I just love her, and she's fierce, and also like she's active like in so many different like communities other than like just being an actress, like I just think she is a talent and a gem, and that is my woman crush.
Yes, I've listened to her on different podcasts, and she talked all about her mental health journey, being an actress, and like her experience with being a mother, and just, it was such a good episode.
Yeah.
And yeah, so she really is just so immersed and like active, like you said, and inspirational and talented and incredible.
Yeah, she's a true force. Like, a fucking incredible force.
Yep. Yeah. My woman crush of the week is Esther Perel, who also is has a podcast. Where Do We Begin is what it's called. I cannot speak today. She is a relationship therapist, sex therapist, and on Where Should We Begin, it's real, like, sessions, real, yeah. And people obviously consent to being on the podcast, but it's like different couples working through relationship issues. And she's just so talented. She's so incredible at her craft, and such an inspiration to me. And Brett is actually the one who introduced me
to
Esther Perel. So, yeah, she's my woman crush of the week.
Wow, that's amazing.
Woman Crush Wednesday.
Yep, Woman Crush Wednesday.
Yeah.
We're here. But this was such a great episode. And we had such a fun time with Brett.
Yes, always.
She's just unbelievable. Like, amazing. But follow us at Act and Analyze podcast on Instagram, YouTube and TikTok. Subscribe, do the whole thing. Share, like, rate us, comment, do your thing.
Yeah, do your thing.
Yeah.
And we'll see you again next week.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.